definitely. If we look at what's going on with the royal family, there are charges of alleged corruption, financial corruption within the Saudi family, and the ousting of Prince Walid bin Talal that is taking place. You have to ask yourself, if they just set up this whole center in cooperation with the United States, we had Donald Trump there, as you said, and the American corporation Palantir, and setting up their Center for Extreme Ideology, in which Palantir software programs are operating. And we'll define a little more about what their software operation consists of, what it is operating as. But why would the people, the royal family, who agreed to this Center for Extreme Ideology being constructed and bringing in Palantir as its operating system, why would they suddenly be ousted? What are they bringing in, Kev?
It's almost, Anthony, as if you could look at it as being some kind of soft coup has occurred, but we're not seeing that, only not in the traditional sense anyway. And, you know, if I was going way out there, it could well very be that the minute they started factoring in a strong AI into their governance system, well, there was a digital coup has taken place, and I'm starting to wonder now just how much of that country is under AI control, Tony.
Well, you are very prescient, my friend. You are seeing the future. You already talked about this, however, retrospectively on your own show when I was out for a little while, and you were talking about Sophia, the robot in Saudi Arabia, and that she had been granted citizenship. Didn't you cover that?
Absolutely, and Sophia has been a robot that we've been covering for some time right here on the network, and it was a listener again that tipped me off to the fact that Sophia, the very human, the disturbingly so looking, or kind of, it resembles a human far too much for my liking. We're entering the uncanny valley here, but yeah, just recently, Saudi Arabia made a non-human woman its first digital citizen, and that made them the first country, Anthony, to actually recognize a robot and then give it citizenship. Now, that in itself was a bit of a strange move. It was a bit out there. However, when you take that 30,000-foot approach that we like to glide along at, you need to start connecting the dots here. So you've got Palantir moving in with this major AI software package. You've got something going on with the Saudi royal family, and to the point where they're now granting a female robot citizenship. Definitely something very weird with all of this, Tony.
Well, there's your soft coup, is what I would venture to put out there to the audience. Sophia is a cognitive intelligence. That's how she's described. Now, here's the reason why she was granted citizenship. And this is going to lead to a much bigger application in the discussion of citizenship, and we'll get to that. But she was granted citizenship, the best that I can determine at this point, is so that she could be assigned an income tax. In other words, so she could earn a living, that she could generate an income and then be taxed on it. So what's the bigger application here? Imagine thousands upon thousands of robots displacing humans from the workplace. Now, we work in most areas in the world's economies based upon a capitalistic system. If you operate in capitalism, you have to have a support system, which is taxation for the regulators, for the government. But you also have to be able to have wages earned by whoever or whatever it is that is doing the work. Labor needs to earn a living. Robots need to earn a living. Why? Because that feeds the capitalistic machine. Now, I'm not against capitalism, just saying that's the machine. That's the system that the world operates on. Whether you have dictatorships, communism, socialism, fascism, doesn't matter. The underlying economies all run on a profit system.
So
So the robots are generating a profit, and they're going to be paid that.
Just to follow on from this, it's a question, and I suspect a lot of the listeners might be actually thinking this themselves, because we've been promised almost the kumbaya kind of lifestyle where we'll be pursuing our dreams and our interests, but along with that comes something called the universal income, or a universal wage. They've tried this out in Switzerland, and this is going to be coming to cities, smart cities, and everywhere, basically, very, very soon. Because Tony's right, there is going to be a massive displacement of workers when this robot revolution enters the workforce en masse. So when these robots are earning then, Tony, and they're generating income of their own and paying their tax, I take it that tax pot is where the rest of us will be dipping into for our universal income.
Well, I suppose in a benevolent scenario, you could say that if the robots are doing the work and they're the ones getting taxed, we're not working, therefore we're not being taxed, that, yeah, we're going to be given a universal income. That's the rosy picture. Here's the nefarious side. We won't be here. Are you there?
Oh, I'm here. I'm just, you said I wouldn't be here, so I disappeared, Tony. I thought, we'll get ready for a world without Kev. It was horrible and lonely, wasn't it?
It was.
I'm only joking, because this is really, really serious, and you know how that's how I roll, Tony, because when I'm faced by something like this, and I was sharing with you before the show, I mean, like I was kind of teasing the audience, this is a massive rabbit hole, and we've barely even stepped into it yet. And when faced with something like this, I mean, that brings out the nervous laughter in me, because we've heard about Elon Musk and his quote about us becoming domesticated pets, things like that. And however you want to describe it, this universal wage and this robot revolution, it's very, very real, Anthony, and we are all going to have to face this very soon. And that's not fear porn, that's reality. That's the road that we're on technologically right now.
It is, and we don't intend for fear, but we put out the facts. We put out the facts from the research. So on the note of research, I would like the audience to go on the break, because we're coming right up on it. Take a look at a website, singularitynet.io. Singularitynet.io. We're going to be talking about the singularity, blockchain, Bitcoin, and how all this ties into AI and Palantir and D-Wave and all these things that we keep talking about, just all daisy chained together. Go ahead, sir.